Good morning and welcome back to The Point. Today is Monday, August 7th. Bit of a dreary day here in Pittsburgh after kind of a colder weekend. Hopefully the weather can turn for us here soon so we can get back out on the golf course. But U.S. futures are in the green this morning, continuing the trend it saw heading into the weekend. Friday's jobs report was a big help, creating 209,000 jobs in July versus an estimated 183,000, while unemployment matched expectations and fell to 4.3%. The solid payrolls report is spurring renewed bets that U.S. reflation is back as Vanguard and BlackRock claim inflation is poised to soon reach the Fed's 2% target, citing a tight labor market and wage growth momentum. And while bond markets have remained calm, a slew of corporate credit investors are betting it won't last as they see risk in volatility, geopolitical tensions, and climbing debt. The Stoxx Europe 600 index is heading lower, led by declines in travel and leisure shares, but largely impacted by the outlook of the UK economy. Although UK's FTSE 100 index is at its highest in 6 weeks, the Bank of England lowered its forecast for growth while consumers cut back on spending as house price growth sharply slowed, leaving household expenditure and the property market at its weakest in over 4 years. The MSCI Asia Pacific Index climbed 0.5% to trade near its highest point since December of 2007. Japan's TOPIX saw solid gains, helped by Toyota's 2% rise after beating estimates amid teaming up with Mazda. Australia's S&P ASX 200 index was up almost 1%, led by gains in miners and banking, while the bond market did not see much movement as 10-year yields rose 1 basis point to 2.27%, while Germany saw a 2 basis point climb mirrored by a small loss in the UK. And Bitcoin, after seeing a plunge due to a split in the company over its future, jumped as much as 16% on Friday to a record well over the 3,000 mark. The euro and pound both saw gains against the dollar, even as data showed German industrial production unexpectedly fell in June. The strengthening euro shows growing investor confidence in the EU, combined with disappointment in U.S. tax reform and spending plans dragging the dollar. Gold fell 0.2%, copper gained 0.1%, while iron ore and steel prices climbed, pushing advances for industry titans such as Arcelor Mittal and Anglo American plc. And crude oil took a tumble, down 1.3% to below $49 per barrel. Representatives from OPEC and non-member nations are meeting in Abu Dhabi to discuss poor compliance on the supply cut agreement. Compliance fell to 86% in July, its lowest since January, as U.S. production is at its highest level in 2 years. The UK is said to offer £36 billion to settle the Brexit divorce bill to spur discussion toward a future trade deal, as the UK is looking to get specific on transitional arrangements. The United Nations Security Council approved new sanctions on North Korea following its test of 2 intercontinental ballistic missiles last month. Tensions between China and the US may ease as they will cooperate on the matter. Much industrial data will come out of Europe this week, with Italy and France reporting industrial production, while the UK will announce factory output on Thursday. And there are a few Fed speakers due this week, with James Bullard kicking things off today, although many ears will be on Bill Dudley on Thursday, as the New York Fed boss will take the mic. And Friday, we'll see close attention for U.S. Consumer Price Index as we watch the Fed's inflation puzzle. Economists estimate the headline picked up in July to 1.8% from 1.6%, while core inflation stayed at about 1.7%. So obviously we're kind of waiting for the big data on Friday, just kind of as we did last week. We waited for the jobs report to come out. We will be waiting for the CPI data to come out on Friday. But in the meantime, we're obviously going to keep our eyes on what's going on in Europe. A lot of things happening there with the Brexit as the UK and the EU try to settle on a deal. But a lot of data being pumped out there, especially in the UK, where wages are falling, where you see consumer spending is falling, which is really taking an impact in their economy. Political matters, keeping a tight watch on that. We see a lot of tensions climbing between U.S., North Korea, and China, and a lot of tensions also climbing in oil, with countries not complying with the supply cut agreement. So a lot of tensions rising. So and also going to wait for the Fed speakers this week, looking for clues on what they plan to do with their giant debt, their massive balance sheet, and clues on what they plan to do up here in the future, and if they are going to raise interest rates here for the second half of the year. In sports, we saw Sean Rodriguez hit a walk-off yesterday for the Pirates in the 12th inning after he was reacquired on Saturday. So this was his first game back for him to be the hero as they remain 4.5 games out of first in the division with the Cubs losing yesterday. The Miami Dolphins signed Jay Cutler to replace Ryan Tannehill as he's most likely out for the year with a knee injury. And Hideki Matsuyama tied a course record at Firestone to bring home the Bridgestone Invitational as he shot a 61 on Sunday to win by 5 shots over Zach Johnson. And the other PGA Tour event this week, the Barracuda, which has the stable Ford format, saw Chris Stroud win in a playoff after he rattled in 9 birdies and an eagle on the 18th in the final round. And that is it for us today on The Point. It is Monday, August 7th, and we will see you tomorrow.